So Halloween seemed like a perfect time to cremate our cat. But she wasn't quite dead yet. Now you see, in Edinburgh, Halloween is the season of fire, like it was in the old Celtic pagan days, as the celebration known as Samhain. And the fires burnt in the fields and in the towns as the light of summer transitioned to the dark of winter, and the residents called for safety. The transition that we went from All Saints' Day to All Souls' Day to All Hallows' Eve to Halloween. And we had a fire then, but Diva, our cat, was still alive. Now you see, I lived in the Salisbury Centre. The Salisbury Centre was a spiritual education centre. It was a place where we had 250 visitors a week come through for therapy, for yoga classes, for pottery. And Diva was the black and white cat who had lived in the Salisbury Centre much longer than anybody could possibly recall. Certainly longer than the current team who were managing and keeping the place running. And Diva was a real gift to the visitors to that centre. She was a treat, meeting them at the door and welcoming people in. And she could often be found sleeping curled up in the sun just in the library big bay windows. And she also took a fond liking to my attic bedroom and the foot of my bed. Now, as lovely as Diva was, she was also a little mischievous. And her favorite things to do were to interrupt the yoga class. And you can imagine doing downward dog when this cat comes past and rubs on your face. Or sitting zen in a meditative moment where she would jump onto the lap. Paws and claws, her favorite tricks to keep you awake to your own meditative practice. So it was a few weeks after Halloween into November when Diva passed. And as a community, we decided that we were going to cremate her. And we had a great big garden and a great big fire circle. So it was easy to do. And it seemed that Diva wasn't finished with her tricks, though. After she passed, Anya, who ran the pottery, laid Diva out in a big shoebox, nicely ornately prepared, and the visitors to the centre were told and given the opportunity to come and pay their respects, many of whom did that. And then we posted a post onto Facebook saying, we're going to have a fire, a special Diva fire in the garden on Friday. Now I need to introduce to you a man called Alan. You see, at the time, I was working for Deaf Action. And I was supporting members of the deaf community. And Alan was one of those men. And he had decided that the Salisbury Centre garden was a good place for him to come and help. And he often did that, and he would follow the events that we posted onto Facebook and then come along. But Alan's English literacy wasn't so great. And I'm pretty sure that on that day he read garden, fire, and 4 o'clock, with no mention of the cat. So Alan came along to help, as he always did, and the community rallied around. There were about 8 of us there that day, and we collected wood from the wood pile, and we came and built up this great big fire circle, you know, the kind of pyramid of stacking of wood. And then Anya went inside to collect Diva, and she brought the box out, which was now covered, and placed it carefully on top of the pile of dried wood. To which Alan looked a little confused. And he was like, what's in the box? So I said, it's the cat. She's dead. Cat? Fire? I said, yes. Cat, dead, box, fire. Do you want to have a look? And he's like, no. Diva's last trick was played on Alan. And that day we lit that fire. We stacked more wood on top of that box. We lit that fire, and we kept that fire burning for 3 days. In the cold Scottish mornings, we, as housemates living in the centre, headed down with our cup of tea to rekindle the fire from the warm coals that were left there. And remarkably, it didn't rain for 3 days in Scotland. And just before the rain started to fall, we dashed out and we gathered the ash from that fire and took it into the pottery studio. And Anya made a pottery glaze from the ash, carefully sifting past the leftover teeth and little bones. And then she made some 4-leaf clovers. So if you were ever to visit the Salisbury Centre, you would find 4-leaf clovers in various places. And if you were to ever to sit Zen meditation for just a moment, you might find yourself in the presence of Paws or Claws as Diva walks the hallways at Halloween.